Hi, Ann.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are
I
you?
love the fact that we always start off laughing.
I
It's
know, it
it,
makes a
it
good start.
it's so wrong for a film noir related podcast or whatever this is that we do.
We're happy film noir people.
We are. So, how are you?
I'm good. So people know because I'm trying to do this. I'm Ann Hawkins. I'm the director of communications for the Film Noir Foundation. You probably already know Eddie. Eddie's the president of the Film Noir Foundation, the founder, and he also hosts Noir Alley on Turner Classic Movies and
So I
writes
stand
books and
accused.
stuff.
Yes, that would be me. So, I was telling everyone, or not everyone, I was telling you before we came on that you look completely hale and hearty. Congratulations. I don't
Thank
know what
you.
you're doing, but it's good, whatever it is. I am fine today. I was bone tired yesterday because we finished up the Noir City Festival in Portland
Hmm.
over this past weekend, and it was fantastic, absolutely great. The people in Portland were so terrific. Not just my hosts at the Hollywood Theater, but every single show was sold out. That was pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
well in advance, and
Hmm.
it was just everything went off brilliantly. Our promotions director Darl Sparks was there with me, manning the merchandise table along with Margaret McGregor, who
Hmm.
comes to every Noir City. She's in Chicago, but now she travels around. She's like a noir head, like the Grateful Dead heads. She travels with the festival everywhere. And now, God love her, she pitches in and helps sell our merch and stuff. And it's just great. I'll probably point out a couple of things as we're going along the way here, but I just can't thank the Portland folks enough. It was really great. And Vanna Heflin O'Brien came out and talked with me before screening of The Prowler about her dad, Van Heflin, and that was a real treat. And Van Heflin's grandsons were there, and they'd never seen The Prowler,
All
so
right.
so it's like when the whole Bridges family came out for Try and Get Me, and they see, Dad is like, ugh, he's a rotten guy in this movie, and I was like, yeah, well, Van Heflin, this is. I just said, prepare yourself. He's just a rotten bastard in this film.
Yeah.
So they kind of got a kick out of that. It was a little unpleasant for them, I think, but they knew he was only acting.
Oh, and I was going to say too, so people know, The Prowler is one of the films that we restored, that we funded the restoration. And if you're into helping people fund restorations of film noirs, you can donate to us at filmnoirfoundation.org, the contribute page. If you donate $20 or more and signed up on our email list, you do get our quarterly magazine, Noir City Magazine, delivered to your inbox. And there's a link, and you download a PDF of it. But anyway, that's how these things happen. These restorations happen because people donate. So
Absolutely. I mean, I in Portland, I kind of went on my. We also did an hour on stage conversation for about an hour on the Saturday, and I kind of went off the rails and did my anti corporate tirade and made clear that everybody knew that we don't really get corporate sponsorship or
yeah,
funding for anything, and I prefer it that way. So it's absolute. What Ann says is absolutely true. I mean, all the funding comes from fans now. You
yeah,
know.
and just so people too know, we run on an extremely low overhead as well.
Yes,
Extremely.
yes, we do.
Obviously, I'm wearing my full time
This
job
is this is the entity
sweatshirt.
that you actually work for.
This
Yes.
is this is my bread and butter.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So we do. We're not. Your money really does. I guess what I'm saying is your money really does go to the restorations. It
Absolutely.
really does.
I like to just say we're clean.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
We're the reform party.
Yes, indeed. We showed Alias Nick Beale in Portland, and that was a revelation for a lot of people. I think that was the one film of the roster that we showed that the fewest number of people had seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
Alias Nick Beale, and it blew people away. You know, it was really fun, and everything we showed. This was kind of remarkable. Everything we showed was in 35 millimeter,
Oh, great.
which was great because the Hollywood is very much, you know, the kind of theater that we like to partner with, and that they're doing amazing things there, and I'm happy to be a part of it because they're using the theater as the anchor for what they plan to have be something called the Hollywood Film District in Portland, where they're going to move. There's a fabulous, you remember, of course, you used to live in Seattle. You remember Scarecrow
Yeah,
Video up in Seattle, arguably the world's greatest video store.
I
Well,
worked there
there you go. There's yeah, I think you would remember it. There's
with
a,
Jonathan Marlowe, who's
yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah,
running
yeah.
it now. Yeah.
Uh, there's a store very similar to that in Portland called Movie Madness.
Okay.
Uh, that's just fantastic. But through various circumstances, that store is probably going to move right across the street from the Hollywood Theater. And those two things will be kind of the anchor of this film district, which is a really, really great idea. And it's something that I see happening around the country. You know, while the big newspapers and everything are writing about the demise of cinema and, you know, blah, 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 it is interesting that there are these old vintage movie theaters that are revitalizing, you know, what were the downtown areas in their cities slash towns. Because it seems to me, as I go around the country doing this stuff, that you're seeing this rejuvenation of these theater districts in smaller areas, right? It's not really working in the downtowns of big cities, but smaller towns, and I'm including Portland in that, even though it's a big city, you know, and uh, um, Phoenixville, the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, where we'll do Noir City in November, same kind of thing. I mean, that theater has been the centerpiece of a revitalization of this whole downtown area with restaurants and bars and shops and everything, uh, which is really fantastic. So that Noir City fits right in to all of that. And it was really, in addition to what it does for the local community, it was really gratifying to see how many people came to Portland from out of town, from Alaska and Canada and Florida and the Midwest. And I mean, it was really cool because people always come up to me and say, "Hey, I came from, you know, wherever," and it always blows my mind. And it's fun because I know our flagship here in the Bay Area is, you know, traditionally a 10-day festival. But I have to say, these 3-day festivals going from a Friday night through the weekend are really fun. They,
Yeah.
they really hit the sweet spot because I have just about enough energy to get through to the end. And but it's great because people can come into town on like a Thursday and then, you know, relax on Friday, start going to the movies, and then they can either stay and watch every film, as so many of these people did, or they can do something else in the town and get out, you know, on Monday morning. So it's just one weekend. And because when we do it here in the Bay Area, people from out of town always contact me and say, which weekend should I attend?
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't pick for them, you know. So anyway, it was great. The bottom line was it was really, really, really a great festival.
Yeah. Even though I'm always very fond of the last day of programming because it's always just those have just been some of my favorite
Yeah,
double
you've
features.
said that before. Yeah, that
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in locally, I do. I know you liked it when we did that big marathon on the last Sunday that day where we had when we showed all the Hammett films.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nuts. But that was
Yeah.
every film was different and I think we ended up showing something like 7 movies or something that day.
It was
Uh,
just crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
berserk.
Yeah.
That's like an endurance contest, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but now I always show a matinee and evening show of the same movies on Sunday because it's a long festival in the Bay
Yeah.
Area. I want to give people a break so they can either take the Sunday off if the weather's good and come to the evening show, or they can get home early on that Sunday, you know, see the matinee show and then get home and get some well earned sleep before the whole thing starts that week. So anyway, okay,
Yeah.
that's enough of the housekeeping stuff. Let's dive into these questions here.
Oh, and we don't have a Noir City festival in August, but we have two in September.
Correct. We have the Noir City Festival in Chicago at the Music Box, which I think you'll know the dates probably more than me. It starts the first week of September. I think it's the 5th. It's either the 5th or 6th of September,
Yeah.
whichever the first Friday in
Fridays. And
September is when we start.
it's the 5th. And people can see the dates also. If you go to filmnoirfoundation.org news page, I write articles and we have our save the date up for Chicago and the dates that you're hosting, the dates Alan is hosting.
Okay.
And because it's a split festival, and then there's on there, we also have a box with all the dates for the remaining festivals for the year, just so
Right.
people know.
And then also I'm doing Detroit, which is I think September 21st or somewhere around there. Just look for the Friday that is the earliest in the 20s. That's when I'm doing it. Okay.
That's at the Redford. Okay, this is from our friend Joe from Suffolk County, New York. I was sorry to see Michael Madsen's obituary in the New York Times. His work in Reservoir Dogs is unforgettable. Please share your thoughts on Mr. Madsen's place in noir, and particularly his signature scene in Reservoir Dogs. Also appearing in Reservoir Dogs, of course, was Lawrence Tierney, a connection between the classic noir era and the neo-noir era. What other actors have appeared in both eras?
Yeah, Michael Madsen was good. I liked him.
Yeah.
He seemed to me to fit the mold of like an old Hollywood tough guy. Like he would have been in noir films in the 40s, definitely. And quite honestly, and this is not a criticism of him or anything, but it always seemed to me that um, he was trying to be Robert Mitchum. I mean, it just always seemed to me like his, not just on screen, but off screen. His off screen persona, like when he would do talk shows and stuff, he was definitely kind of a Robert Mitchum, you know, kind of like I could care less. And I remember seeing him on the Letterman show one time, and it was exactly that kind of I don't even know why I'm here thing, you know,
Yeah.
and but it seemed a little like a pose, you
Yeah.
know. But boy, he could be really great on screen, and I liked him a lot. And yeah, that the you know that's a career making scene in Reservoir Dogs. You remember the music?
I have never seen the
You've never
film.
seen Reservoir Dogs? You're not
Uh,
a big Quentin Tarantino fan, are you?
I am not.
Yeah. It was Steeler's Wheel. The song was Stuck in the Middle with You.
Yeah.
And he does his little dance with his straight razor and cuts off the guy's ear. And I just instinctively did that
Pulled.
when
I was going to say you
when
just
I
pulled
said
your
that.
ear there.
Yeah, that wasn't really intended, but there you go. As for Lawrence Tierney was also in Reservoir Dogs, but other actors who were in both eras. I mean, it depends on how new you want your neo noir to be, because I mean, I could say like, you know, if you're thinking of the '80s or something, right? Richard Widmark was in Against All Odds, which was the remake of Out of the Past.
Not just Richard Widmark.
Jane Greer was
Yeah.
in that. She played the mother of the character she portrayed in the original film. She was the mother in the remake. I'm trying to think if there are any other. I mean, it was almost like a thing that in the '70s, a lot of filmmakers who loved noir cast Elijah Cook Jr. in their films as like a wink, 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 nod, nod like we're hip to the classic noir. Like if anybody's seen The Outfit, I mean, everybody's in The Outfit, right? Elijah Cook Jr.'s in it, Marie Windsor, Jane Greer, Timothy Carey is in it, Robert Ryan is in it. I mean, that's like the reunion of all the original noir people. But that is a film from like 1971, which,
Yeah.
when you think about it, isn't that long after, right? If you,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
even 20 years since the time they were really making a ton of noir. It was 20 years later. It would be like movies made in 2005 to today, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's no time has passed at all.
Yeah. And then,
So,
yeah. And the Night Strangler, the first Night Stalker film, or I
mhm.
guess it's called the Night Stalker, actually. It's not the Night Strangler, it's the Night Stalker. It has Elisha Cook Jr., Ralph Meeker, um, and a couple other, uh, Kent Smith, and Aiken.
Claude Akins, yeah.
And they're kind of, yeah, and you're just going, it's incredible. It's just all these noir guys. And that's kind of a newspaper noir, even though it's like a vampire, it's really
Right. No,
more of a
no, but
newspaper
yeah, it
noir.
is. It is.
Yeah,
Surely it is. I mean,
yeah,
your protagonist is a newspaper guy, right?
yeah.
Newspaper reporter. So, um, anyway, I can't.
Sorry.
Honestly, can you think of any others that you saw like later in a newer movie that were like? And that wasn't the only one that Tierney was in. Tierney showed up
Yeah,
at, any young. I think young filmmakers tried to test their mettle by casting Lawrence Tierney in their film and seeing if they could survive.
yeah, yeah,
Because I know he was also in this kind of cool movie called 2 Days in the Valley.
yeah,
That he's in that movie as well, and I think it kind of in a comical. They and they tend to use. I mean, Tarantino did, and Tarantino used him pretty straight as Joe
yeah.
Cabot in Reservoir Dogs. But a lot of times they're casting. It's like stunt casting.
Hmm.
They're like he gets beaten up or he plays some hot-headed foul-mouthed guy. I mean, Norman Mailer cast him in Tough Guys Don't Dance. Lawrence Tierney, a
Yeah,
younger Lawrence Tierney, is in that. Um, but besides the Widmark one, I can't think of too many others.
yeah,
The guys tended to die a lot sooner than the women.
yeah.
But unfortunately, guys get cast in films when they're much older, whereas the women
Well, not so
stop
much.
being cast.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unfair, but yeah. I remember when not to throw in a plug for my Dark City Dames book, which is out now. um, but I remember when I was doing that the gals all said, Eddie, you should write a new film noir and have it set like in a retirement community. We can all be in it, and like murder happens and one of us is guilty and the others are trying to solve it, or
I'm telling you,
it,
Charlotte Armstrong's the Widows of Sanssouci.
it,
That would have been perfect for them.
that's so funny, the Sanssouci. That uh that was in the film I showed a couple of weeks ago on TCM.
Oh
this
no.
this this side of the law, there was an estate called Sanssouci, that was in the film with Kent Smith. Kent Smith was saying it like repeatedly in that film, and I thought that's like kind of odd. And then here you go, you reference it. I mean, it had nothing to do with
Yeah.
the Charlotte Armstrong story, as far as I know. But yeah, kind of interesting. Anyway, uh, next one. Oh, look at you, grouping. Just saw a short final interview with the late actor Michael Madsen. Obviously, as we know, and you pull some of the timeliest things and put them so that they are still timely, even though we have a backlog of questions. But anyway, uh, this is Alan from San Anselmo. Uh, just saw a short final interview with the late actor Michael Madsen. He talked about rain scenes. He said, I love scenes in the rain. Scenes that happen in the rain are very emotional. In the movie Shane, Alan Ladd standing outside the house when he's getting rained on is an example. From your experience, does the rain we see in movies 100% of the time come from some sort of machine on set? Do they ever happen to film a rain sequence when it's actually raining? Well, Alan, I can guarantee you that if it's an old Hollywood movie, it is a rain machine making the rain, because there is no way that they would put cast, crew, time, money at risk by not having total control of the rain. And obviously, a lot of those scenes are actually indoors or on the studio, exterior in the studio, uh, so that they can control all of that stuff. I'm certain there are scenes that are shot in the rain. They would be newer movies, and they would be exterior long shots and stuff, and they would probably not be uh, any kind of dialogue scene. It'd be somebody running to get in their car or drive off or do something like that, possibly even second unit stuff. But if there are main actors involved and they actually have to stand there and talk, it is not going to be in real rain. Now, if anybody out there has a difference of opinion about that or knows an example of a scene actually shot in the rain, I mean, to my way of thinking, it would only be a low budget independent film where they couldn't afford rain machines. That's the only time you might see them actually try to shoot it in the rain. But then again, you're asking for a lot of trouble, continuity wise and everything. You're asking for a lot of trouble if you shoot in real rain. Okay.
Okay, and this is from Kenny from Ohio. I was recently rewatching your podcast interview, the extra podcast with Tim Millard, which was great, by the way. And you were talking about Batman being a noir character. I am also a huge Superman fan as well. My question is, aside from seasons 1 and 2 of the Adventures of Superman TV series, what other eras or adaptations of Superman do you consider to be noir? And also, what are your favorite eras of Superman? That's for you, Eddie.
Okay.
Obviously.
I don't consider Superman to be noir at all. I mean, it's funny because I see Superman and Batman as like the yin and yang of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Superman is the infallible hero and the believer in truth, justice, and the American way, and Batman is the dark night of the soul. I mean, it's all about vengeance and psychosis and darkness, and so I mean, the Adventures of Superman stuff, I mean, a lot of that feels more like noir because of just the era in which it was made and the visual look of the stuff, but it's not really noir thematically or anything. I think it's kind of interesting that I haven't seen it, but the new Superman movie is apparently quite a return to the traditional Superman as like a role model and a champion of good and justice and all that, and not part of that trend, the darker trend in the Marvel and DC universes, blah blah blah, where like the superheroes, they desaturated everything, and it was like they all had to be kind of miserable, and which originally was kind of a Marvel thing, right? That was kind of what Stan Lee brought to Marvel Comics was, the angst. The superheroes had their own human problems and traumas and all that stuff. The DC Comics, except for Batman. But you'll remember that in the 60s, right, there was the original Batman, then there was the Batman in the 50s and 60s that became goofy.
Yeah.
Right. And then Adam West, it was all like a spoof of all of that stuff. And it wasn't until Neil Adams started drawing Batman in the comics and that the dark Batman came back. Right. And then Frank Miller really made it dark. and then that's when people started attaching the word noir to it, when Frank Miller got around to it. But Kenny, I don't actually see Superman as being, I'm going to admit I was always much more of a fan of Batman. I think it's pretty obvious from my tastes that I was much more a fan of Batman than I was of Superman. But this is why Superman is a cultural icon. You can't avoid it. I read Superman comics when I was a kid. I watched the TV show. I watched the reruns when George Reeves was playing them. But not a colossal fan. Not like my friend Bill Selby, who is a gigantic Superman fan and has like a Superman ring and the whole thing. So
Yeah, and if you ever want something, oh God, if you want to see the dark side of Superman, are you familiar with the comics, The Tick?
yeah, I know about the
Yeah,
Tick.
The
Yeah.
Tick. And there is an episode where he goes to the city, and it's so obvious, Metropolis, right? He gets a job at a newspaper, which is obviously the newspaper from Superman,
The Daily Planet.
the Daily Planet. He calls something else, and basically he starts to work with Clark Kent and basically drives him to the brink of insanity. And it is like the best Superman parody because if people haven't read The Tick, he's basically like, you don't know if he's really like, if he really has superpower or if he's insane, because he kind of came from a sanitarium, so you're
Yeah.
not really sure.
Now, let me get this straight. So the Tick was a comic book, right?
Yes, it was a comic book originally.
And then they did a show
Oh God, I love that show.
with it was Patrick Warburton, right? Patrick Warburton played the Tick. Yeah, perfect
Oh my God,
casting.
it's
Yeah.
so great. And it's just like, because basically the idea is that all these superheroes they're kind of just normal people day to day. Like they have to have jobs and stuff. And they're like, in the series, because they didn't have a lot of money, they were always sort of meeting up at the same Chinese restaurant all the time. And and like American Made, who's sort of obviously the takeoff on Wonder Woman, is like the only one who's actually competent. And so it's kind of got that. But the
Okay,
comic,
I'm gonna look for that because I know the comic book. I have copies of the comic book in the other room, but
yeah.
I just remember that hearing that Patrick Warburton was playing that character, and I thought, okay, that's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
And of
Because he
course,
has that. I mean, yeah.
for people who don't know who Patrick Warburton is,
Yeah.
I mean, this guy has got this voice like this, and he's recently he's been doing commercials, and he does this like wine commercial that was on during football season. He goes, "We want a glass of great Pinot Grigio," and he just had that voice. But he was the star of a really cool neo-noir film based on a Charles Willeford book called The Woman Chaser. And yeah, that's a really unusual, very cool movie, shot in black and white, and he's a very unique noir protagonist. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it actually has my favorite, the book, which is from the book, but it has my favorite piece of advice on writing, which is just write it down. Just
Just
write
write
it
it down.
down and then you work on it. But you have to get it down first.
Well, that's absolutely the truth. Yeah.
Um,
It's almost as good as Elmore Leonard's rule of writing that says leave out all the parts that people don't want to read. Never write about weather. It's all Elmore Leonard's 10 rules of writing are so spot on. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, we're not going to go through all 10 of them right now. Okay. Where are we now?
we're on 4.
Okay. Okay. So this is Michael, our buddy in Post Falls, Idaho, who sent me a lovely message, by the way, after our last show. It was very sweet. He's a good guy. He sent a photo with his collection of our restorations, and he wants to know what is next. Well, Michael, I don't want to disappoint you, but there's plenty of things right now in the works, but I hate talking about them until like they're almost done, because I just know that too many things can go haywire. And when I started doing this, there were a lot more repertory theaters in the country, and I kept restorations and things sort of under wraps because I thought, I don't know that I found the only existing copy of a film or something. And if I announced it, I was kind of nervous that other programmers would locate a copy that I didn't find and then they'd show it and kind of undercut me. And that I didn't want that to happen. And so that just kind of became a modus operandi for me. And now it's become kind of a superstition that I don't really want to talk about it. And but now when I started doing this, there was no real video stuff on the internet. But now if I mention something, enough people follow us and follow the foundation and everything that somebody will find a really bad copy of the film that we're restoring and put it up on the internet and say, just to do it, just to undercut what we're doing, and which is not as bad as the people who take our restorations and cut the restoration credit off and put it on the internet and say, I restored this, give me money to do more, which is ridiculously common and next to impossible to police. And I bitched about it on here before, and I don't want to just go off on that again, but it really ticks me off. And I would appreciate if people don't patronize those people. I mean, if it's a film that we haven't restored, by all means, that's great. But if they're showing it and it looks good, it's because it's our restoration, right? Woman on the Run, Too Late for Tears, Repeat Performance, all these films I've seen on, these sites, whatever there are, Cinema Treasures or something. Yeah. And they say, I restored this. And they didn't. All they did was buy the Blu-ray and cut off our preservation credits. So that's it.
And just to let people know too, so if you're interested in buying physical media copies or digital copies, you can go to Flickr Alley. That's where we put it all up. But if you don't want to spend the money and you just want to see the film and you have a library card, you go to Canopy and you can watch it there.
Yeah. If you really I prefer that people do that than to patronize these people who, may think their heart's in the right place and that they're not doing any harm. But the mere fact that they're cutting off our credits on the film is a spiteful, malicious act that I do not tolerate. So there you go. Okay. I barely read that one. Can I do the next one too?
Yes.
This is from Chris.
Yes.
Chris says, the first time I saw the film Nora Prentiss was when I was in college, when you were hosting the Summer of Darkness series on TCM, circa 2015.
That's 10 years ago.
That is 10 years ago now. Yeah. And that makes Chris like more than half my age. When it comes to the noir trope of the femme fatale who corrupts an obsessed man and destroys him, I think it is, frankly, unsurpassed. Double Indemnity may be considered the better film, but the best and most tragic representation of that motif that I've seen so far is Nora Prentiss. I think it's a masterpiece with a devastating ending and brilliantly shot by James Wong Howe. I know this is all subjective, but Nora Prentiss is not listed on your top 25 favorite noirs on your website. Why not more love for Nora Prentiss? Am I overrating it? And as you can tell, he ends by saying, I personally prefer it to Double Indemnity, as if you hadn't figured that out already. Sorry if this is sacrilege, says Chris. Okay. Well, two things I want to correct here. First off, that list, which I am coming to regret ever putting up online, is not my 25 favorite noir films. It's called 25 films that will stand the test of time. That's not saying that they're my 25 favorite films. They're films that for one reason or another, I felt will age really well. And I'll stand by Nora Prentiss not being on that list. I mean, it's a great film. I love the film. But I don't think it ages as well as the films on that list for various reasons. And here's one of them. Honestly, Chris, I don't actually think that's what that film is about. that it's about a femme fatale who corrupts an obsessed man and destroys him. Uh, I think it's about the man making incredibly stupid decisions in his life and sacrificing his life for this, thinking that there's something to be gained by a relationship with this woman when there really isn't, right? I mean, she makes her own mistakes in the film, but his are 10 times worse, right? Um, I do believe it's the best film that Vincent Sherman made in the 1940s, that's for sure. And it's probably it's hard for me to say that it's Ann Sheridan's best performance, because maybe in this type of film, because I think Ann Sheridan is really funny. I like her in Woman on the Run probably more than in Nora Prentiss, because she's playing more like who she actually was. And if you've ever seen her in I Was a Male War Bride opposite Cary Grant, she's a riot in that film,
Yeah,
and making up a lot of her own dialogue and just improvising with Cary Grant. She's hysterically funny.
she
Anyway,
also
that's
worked with Jack Benny.
yeah. I mean, she had a real smart mouth sense of humor that was all her own, and she is. Although the film is called Nora Prentiss, Kent Smith is really the protagonist of the film. It's his story. She's but it's interesting because there are other films like this. I'm not gonna waste time trying to name them all right now, but there are these films where the woman fulfills the role of the antagonist, but she's not really when you stop to think about it, right? I mean, think about Crisscross, Yvonne DiCarlo and Crisscross. Does she really do anything wrong? Does she really lead these guys on? No, she's kind of the trapped one. These guys are I want you. No, I want you. No, if he can't have you, no one will have you. I mean, it's the guys who are the crazy people in these movies. I think the same way of Vertigo. It's like, Kim Novak is the patsy. She's the sucker in that movie who agrees to this lunatic's plan and then can't get out of it. And she's kind of the innocent character in the movie.
And of course, Pitfall to me is the biggest version of that story.
Perfect example. Yeah. Is Liz Scott a femme fatale? No. Not in the slightest. I mean, Dick Powell and Raymond Burr team up to make her life totally miserable. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't ask for it, and I also kind of feel the same way. A lot of people don't see it this way, but I also kind of feel the same way about Gilda. She's just trying to get along and survive, and Glenn Ford is making her life hell, and then when she catches him being different in that film, he's so embarrassed that he decides to punish her. I'm gonna, because this is the way Balin would have wanted it. I'm gonna lock you up, and you're never gonna see any man, and blah blah blah. And it's all this weird. I've always called that film a tango. It's not a script; it's a tango. Between these two tempestuous people. But I have a, Audrey Totter in Tension is a femme fatale. Ava Gardner in The Killers is a hardcore femme fatale. Rita Hayworth in Lady from Shanghai is a femme fatale. They're lying, duplicitous people.
Yeah.
Claire Trevor in Born to Kill is very, very much a femme fatale, even though it looks like Lawrence Tierney is the monster in the film. She's right there with him.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's interesting. So I'm very much hoping, I want to show Nora Prentiss at the next Noir City Festival in 2026, and I'm hoping that we can get something better than the prints that currently exist. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I've just started working on that. I mean, it's owned by Warner. It's a Warner Brothers picture. It's owned by Warner Brothers, and if that happens, it will be done at Warner Brothers. It's not something that we're going to that they're going to give to us to restore. that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But maybe I can prevail upon them to do a new restoration of the film.
Yeah, and I can't remember who I was talking to or where this came up. We were talking about Kent Smith, and someone was saying that they were thought he was a really boring actor, and I would recommend Nora Prentiss
Yeah, it's
because
by far
it's like
his
his
best
best
film.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he's really I think he's just excellent in it. It's probably my favorite thing. It is my
Yeah.
favorite thing he
And
did.
I like him in the Val Luton movies too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Cat
especially
People and Curse of the Cat People. He's
especially Curse of the Cat People,
yeah.
especially. If you guys haven't seen Curse of the Cat People, it's like one of the best movies about childhood imagination that you'll ever see. It's a
Yep.
beautiful film. Highly
It
recommend it.
it it. I mean, I've shown it at Noir City Christmas. Because it's also
Yeah,
kind of a Christmas movie
yeah.
as well. But it is. I just think that movie is it captures you know childish imagination as well as any movie ever made. I think. Okay.
Okay. So I guess I'm doing this one. This is from Umberto. I wanted to know if you've seen and what your thoughts are on A Gentleman After Dark with Miriam Hopkins. The only way I was able to watch it was through a VHS I bought on sale, on an online marketplace.
I have not seen it. I'm sorry to say. Uh, Umberto. I know Umberto. He always comes on the TCM cruise. If this is the same Umberto I'm thinking of, um, but I have not seen A Gentleman After Dark. Have you seen it, Anne?
I don't think so, no.
Hmm.
I like Miriam Hopkins, so.
Um. Yeah. So I'm. Gee whiz, Umberto. I'm sorry if you waited a long time to have that question answered. That was a dud.
Just a year.
Yeah, because I have not seen it. Uh, now people are going to say, well, gee, if it's been sitting there for a year, why didn't you look at the questions in advance, watch the movie, and then you would have seen it by the time the question came around,
By the way, someone has asked me if I've seen Clean Shaven. I have not watched it yet, so I don't want to answer your question until I actually see the film because I just don't want to say no, I haven't seen it.
That's the movie with Michael Keaton, clean shaven.
No, it's a film. I can't remember who's in it, but it's a film. It's a film around mental illness. Is why the person wanted me to see it because I always talk about it about a guy who I think he's like on kind of on the run with his daughter, but I think he's schizophrenic in
Hmm.
it. Anyway, it's a film that I've not seen yet.
Then I don't know it. So,
Yeah.
um, interesting.
Okay.
Sorry, Umberto. We'll do better next time. I promise. You know what I think, Anne? I think in the future, and I think we did this one time. Maybe we should go
Yeah.
back to it. We should have like a lightning round. In the in
Yeah,
the
of
in the
different
middle of
films.
this, we should just pick like 5 questions that require nothing more than a simple answer, where there's no musing and discussing or
Yeah.
relating it to anything else. It's just like, have you seen this film and what do you think of it? And then just like, and that way we can answer more questions
Yeah, that's a good
because
idea.
and so it'll be just like right in the middle, and you can just go, okay, time for lightning round,
All right.
and we just do it really fast.
Yeah, because we get stuff like why hasn't this been released on Blu-ray, this and those kind of things too. So we could just
Yeah.
group some of those together. I know, guys. So people that aren't familiar with the show. So one, we record this ahead of time. So today we're recording on Barbara Stanwyck's birthday, by the way. And this will be played. So it's Wednesday, and so it'll be screened a week tomorrow live on Facebook. I get in the comments and with y'all when we watch it all together on Facebook, and then it goes up on YouTube the next day. So just let you know. So basically, people write if you subscribe to the newsletter, which is free, and we send out announcements, and then in there we say where to send your questions. And I try now to really like pay attention to all the questions that they come in. So if it's timely, we can get to it. But yeah, so I mean, we do our best, but your question will get answered eventually. It just takes a while. But don't give up. We will answer it
We
eventually.
should, yeah, but maybe we should do one episode where we just blow through questions
that are really easy to
just to try to,
answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to try to catch up and
Yeah.
get the stuff answered. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway, this I can't tell who this question is from. It
That's how it was signed. ER-H.
ER-H or H
Maybe it's an
or
alien.
H, like Jor-El
Yeah.
or
To serve man.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, here's the question: has the neat, snappy Franchot Tone noir "I Love Trouble" ever been properly restored for DVD? You can't tell from the Amazon listings what you might be getting on the DVD you purchase. The print I found on the Internet Archive is blurry and lacks the Christmas noir deserves. Um, and then he references the pedigree with Raymond Burr and John Ireland and a script by Roy Huggins. And he said, I wrote to you a while back about The Chase, which is a good one too, but Franchot Tone is a lot tonier than Bob Cummings. What I'd really like is the Noir Alley treatment, complete with the Muller intro and outro. Well, you missed it because I've shown I Love Trouble on Noir Alley and did the intro and outro thing, and that is the indicator that the print that does exist with the digital transfer is pretty good. It belongs to Sony, and I honestly don't know whether Sony has put it out as I'm well, let me put it this way. I am certain that Sony has not put it out as a Blu-ray. I'm uncertain whether they put it out as a DVD. If what you're talking about on Amazon is not from Sony, then it is a bootleg and it will look horrible, and only buy it if it says Sony or if it is licensed from Sony or something like that. I'm not sure that. I'm trying to remember if Sony has licensed their stuff to like Kino or Arrow or Twilight Time or any of those outfits. I'm not absolutely certain, but they used to put out a lot. They put out a lot of sets. Columbia Noir, that would all be Sony's stuff. And anyway, it looked good. It took a while, but to their credit, Sony restored the beginning of I Love Trouble, which is where it had problems because the titles were missing. I mean, I showed it years ago in 35 millimeter, thanks to Sony, and it just didn't have the titles. But now it does. We showed it on Noir Alley, and it was really fun. It was really fun to talk about how that came about, and Roy Huggins's how he was a protege of Raymond Chandler. They didn't know each other, but he clearly learned to write by copying Raymond Chandler, and that was his take on a Philip Marlowe kind of story with Stuart Bailey, who, and that character that Tone plays would go on to be the detective in 77 Sunset Strip that Roy Huggins created for Warner Brothers Television in the 1950s. That was the same character. Anyway, and The Chase is really great as well. I mean, that was a film that we wanted to restore, and Scorsese's Film Foundation beat us to it. They did the restoration that led to that finally being available on Blu-ray, and it looks great.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this me now? I've lost track. I'll read this one.
This is you.
Wesley from Fisherville, Virginia. I began loving noir movies as a teenager in the 70s, long before I became aware that it was a genre, but there are two noir movies that I cannot bear to watch, even though they star two actors whom I adore, Ronald Colman and Richard Widmark. The movies are A Double Life and Night in the City. The reason I have a hard time watching them is that I can't bear to see Colman and Widmark brought so horribly low. They are positively destroyed. I'm wondering if there are noir movies that you have a difficulty watching for some personal reason, even though the movie and cast are exceptional. That's a great question.
Yeah, Wesley, that is so weird. No offense, Wesley, but you don't sound like much of a noir fan. I mean, because last week when somebody asked, was there an actor that you wanted to see in noir that never made one? And I said, yeah, Greer Garson, because I want to see Greer Garson like dragged through the gutter. That's kind of the whole point of it, right? Is to see these actors who never, sully their images just because they are movies after all, right? Yeah, but that's so funny that you say that because I know that I doubt that Richard Widmark enjoyed playing Harry Fabian in Night in the City. I think that was his kiss off to that character,
Yeah.
and he let it rip because he never wanted to play that guy again. Right,
Yeah.
that's all he was playing for the first 4 years of his career. But Ronald Coleman, I mean, that was his Oscar-winning performance. He was so proud of that, and it's fantastic. He's great in that movie. And
Even though my problem with Double Live, and it does take the sting out of it when I watch it, is there is like a hilarious episode of Jack Benny because Coleman was a semi-regular and Jack Benny
yeah,
played Jack's neighbor. And there's this whole scene where Jack's telling Ronnie how he should have played a scene. So when that scene came up in the movie, we were watching it at Noir City, like I almost burst out laughing.
that's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronald Coleman was great, man. I just and that's a film that I don't think gets enough. Like, um, who was it? What was the guy's name? Keith, Kenny,
Wesley.
Kenny. No, Kenny from Ohio was saying, well, why doesn't Nora Prentiss get enough love? A Double Life is a film that I don't think gets enough love because people don't they overlook it when they're thinking about film noir because it's got such a pedigree,
Yeah.
right? Because it's Ronald Coleman, number one. It's the only remotely noir film he ever made. And George Cukor is the director, and it's Broadway theater and all this stuff. But it is so hardcore noir, with the schizophrenic protagonist and the actor, whose method acting causes him to lose his mind. And I just think that's a fantastic film.
Hmm.
I'm showing it later this year on Noir Alley,
Yeah.
and very much looking forward to writing that intro and outro.
Yeah. And also,
Uh,
I just want to say too, I actually watched it because I got interested in Ronald Coleman because I heard him so much on Jack Benny. That's actually how I wound up watching that film the first time. And also, just so people know, before A Double Life, his movie career wasn't going great, but being on Jack's show regularly brought him back into prominence. I mean, that really is why he got cast in A Double Life. That was a huge got him back in the limelight, and then he did A Double Life, and then he was really kind of back on track.
what's the film? I think we talked about it,
Yeah.
and if I'm remembering right, it is Ronald Coleman about the guy who's the genius on the
Oh,
radio show.
Champagne for Caesar.
Champagne for Caesar, yeah, with
That
Vincent Price.
with
Yeah,
Vincent Price was fantastic on it.
yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. Love that film. That
and you
was
really,
really great.
yeah. And so if people have only seen Ronnie, and more serious roles, he is so you can see his more comedic side that he played so well on radio.
It was like
Yeah.
it's like an old, it's like of its time, like a riff on the $64,000 question and like quiz show, they
Yeah.
that Robert Redford made later. It's like an early version of that. A guy who is so good that he's going to bankrupt the game show that he's on, and they've got to figure out how to stop this guy who just is a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
It really, really funny movie.
And Vincent Price is the TV exec who's trying to come up with a plan to stop him, and he's so funny. And Caesar is a parrot who's voiced by Mel Blanc, by the way.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. And if like the noir fans love Vincent, everybody loves Vincent Price.
Yeah.
But if you love him as Mark Cardigan and his kind of woman,
Yeah.
this character in Champagne for Caesar is like Mark Cardigan times five.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really great. Um, okay.
But do you
Uh,
have any that well, what about films in general? Because like I know for me, I've talked about so many times, but
Oh, difficult films you
yeah.
have difficulty watching for whatever reason. Let me think about that. I don't. The only films I have trouble watching are films that are boring.
Hmm.
I mean, that's really it. If I say this is boring, I'll turn it off. And otherwise, nothing. It doesn't bother me. Like I don't want to see this actor doing this, but I'm trying to think of what. I mean, I hate to pay. I mean, I've said before that the Vincent Minnelli movie Undercurrent, right, has the pedigree of having Katharine Hepburn in a film noir, but it's just a bad movie. It's just a
Such a
terrible
bad
movie,
movie.
and I think everybody involved with it would agree. It's like one of the worst things everybody did that was involved with that. Robert Taylor, who has made a few duds in his time.
Yeah.
But Katharine Hepburn is lousy in it, and Mitchum really does. That's one of the films that he truly does sleepwalk through the film. He could care less what's going on. Boy, if ever there were actors that didn't have any chemistry together, it was Hepburn and Robert Mitchum. It was just like, why are they even in this film
Yeah,
together?
it did not work.
So
Yeah.
so that's kind of a dud, but it's interesting because I know what Wesley is talking about here, and it's like a personal thing, you know, where somebody rubs you. But what's weird is he's saying he likes the actors and he doesn't want to see this happen to them. I never have that feeling, you
Yeah. I
know.
mean, I can not like to watch something because I like the character. I don't want to get in spoiler territory, but there was one episode in the final season of Better Call Saul that I actually had to fast forward through a major
Huh?
plot thing
Interesting.
because it was my favorite character on the show and I couldn't stand what was going to happen to him. And
Oh,
I literally couldn't watch. I could not watch it.
that's interesting. See, I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
It's weird. I just don't have that. I don't have that kind of reaction. I don't know why. Maybe
It
it's
was weird
because
because I've never had that visceral of a reaction like that with something. I mean, I've like closed my eyes during a horror film or something like that because oh my gosh, that's going to be like whatever. But I'm not sure that I've really done that. And I just finished Squid Game. And the thing was this was not a physical thing that was happening to this person.
it's interesting. I tend to. I think it's because as a I'm a writer,
Yeah,
and I think as a writer, without even thinking about it, you're putting yourself in the place of the person who wrote the story that you're watching.
yeah,
Even you're not even thinking, you're not even conscious of that. But it's like if it's good and like something dreadful is going to happen to a character, writers like that,
yeah,
because the audience is you're making the audience squirm and care about
yeah.
these characters, therefore you're winning. You're winning as a
Oh
writer
no,
if
no, it was great.
it's
It
like
was
I
great.
can't, don't do it to him, I can't stand it. It's like, yeah, great,
No, no, no. It's
and
just
I naturally feel that way. It's like it just doesn't disturb me in the way that I think it disturbs some other people when they see terrible fates befall people. To the writer, it's just like, is this going to work or isn't this going to work? Am I going to make people feel this or aren't I will say the one time I felt kind of bad for an actor, other than the times when they're in a really crappily
yeah,
written part and you just think, what a come down for this person. But one time that I had that feeling with a director who I love was Lost Highway. I felt kind of bad for Patricia Arquette
yeah,
in Lost Highway because there's that scene that's really exploitive of her where the Robert Loggia makes her undress in front of all his gangster minions and everything, and I just felt really queasy about the whole thing. And I got it. I got it that's David Lynch's whole thing is like beauty and innocence being spoiled and corrupted by these evil people. That's every movie he's ever made, except the Straight Story. And but there was something about the way that particular scene was staged and photographed,
Yeah.
That I kind of looked away. It was like, this is really unpleasant, and obviously Patricia Arquette lived through it.
Yeah.
And it was no big deal for her, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that feeling with Mulholland Drive at all.
Yeah.
Or Twin Peaks or Blue Velvet, a little bit with Wild at Heart. I thought that Laura Dern was kind of tough. Parts of Wild at Heart were hard for me to watch. Her scene with Willem Dafoe and Wild at Heart is really, really unpleasant. But then it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. So anyway, though, that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just gonna say one other thing. Like, so my favorite episode of Columbo, is actually the one with Janet Leigh, which I've talked about, I think, before in the show, but it's also the hardest one for me to watch. It's written really well. And she's so great.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one. And
Yeah, it's called Forgotten Lady.
you're a Janet Leigh as opposed to a Janet Leigh.
Is it Janet Leigh or Janet Leigh?
It's Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, not Leigh. Sorry.
Janet because it's Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis,
you're right.
That's her
Janet
mom.
Leigh. Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I can't tell you how many times during my life I've heard Vivian Leigh and Janet Leigh.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
yeah, it's Leigh, not Leigh.
It's Leigh. It's Leigh.
Yeah.
Any other actors that are that you share Wesley's?
No, I mean, because it wasn't because it was happening to her. It's just I don't want to give it away because I want people to watch the episode.
Don't, because I love Janet Leigh and I
you gotta see it. Like, I think it's one of her greatest performances. I really do. Plus, John Payne's in it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to watch this now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was there a more adorable actress than Janet Leigh? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like Janet Leigh, late 40s, early 50s, Janet Leigh is just about as appealing as you can possibly get.
See, this is why you're going to like this episode so much. Because her character is an actress and that's who she was.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Okay. I don't want to give too much away, but it's
like like 1949 Janet Leigh in like Act of Violence and Holiday Affair and those films is just, my God, she is just so incredibly adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, good. So I'm going to watch that Columbo episode. All right, now here we go. This is from Jan or Jan, as the case may be. I think I saw it during the 50s or early 60s, but not since. It was a black and white film about a Spanish immigrant family struggling in America. The father was a flamenco guitarist, which is Jan's interest. He got a job in a restaurant, but it didn't work out due to his hands being damaged by having to wash dishes. I don't remember too much more, except a scene where the mother was carrying groceries home and had dropped them on the street, maybe due to juvenile delinquents. It was a somewhat tragic kind of story. Well, your setup sounds like
pretty depressing.
Pretty depressing, yeah. I would appreciate if you have any idea what film this is. I don't. I don't. But here, I've said this before, but here's the deal. I'm going to tell you that when you sent these questions, and I only saw them earlier today, right, when they came through, and I quickly scanned them. And I saw this question, and I contacted my buddy Luis Reyes, who wrote a book called Viva Hollywood that came out recently. That's about the Latin American experience in Hollywood. And I asked him if he knew what this was, and he too said, "Man, that sounds familiar," but he's checking it out. He's going to see if he can figure out what it is. So, Anne, I hope you bookmark that so that In a next episode, maybe I'll have an answer to that
Okay.
question. Okay, you're the last
My
one.
turn. Okay, this is the last question of the night, and it is from our friend Doug in Silver Springs, Maryland. Silver Spring, Maryland.
Singular Spring.
Singular Spring. My friend Steve and I are both major fans of Alfred Hitchcock's work, but we both agree that there's one big problem with The Birds, in that it's totally unbelievable that Rod Taylor would prefer Tippi Hedren over Suzanne Pleshette. What do you two think? I agree 100%. I think Suzanne Plechette's one of the sexiest women ever. I do not get it. I'm blaming that on his controlling mother.
Uh, yeah, I mean, all of this is in the eye of the beholder, you know. But
Obviously.
again, coming at it from the writer, I mean, yes, I agree. I mean, I would be on Team Suzanne Pleshette all the way, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't think if you think I watched the Bob Newhart show for Bob Newhart, guess again, you
Right.
know. Although I love Bob Newhart,
It's
he's
great.
a
I love that
classic, you
show.
know. But um, as a writer, you know, that's the thing. I mean, Rod Taylor, you know, it was that Tippi Hedren was the other. You know, she was this foreign thing in this little community, and so it was her otherness and her unattainability that was clearly the attraction to the guy. And you know, yeah, of course I agree. You know, and honestly, for me, a lot of my interest in the Birds kind of ends when she goes, when Suzanne Pleshette goes. You know, it's just like, yeah, uh, that film is. But you got to admit that film is kind of an absolute masterpiece. I mean, it's just it's like you know, it's very much like Jaws. The Birds is very much like Jaws in that it's like nature, you know, the terror of nature to the human beings, but also it's like Jaws in the sense that it could have been completely stupid.
Hmm.
You know, like it's only through the genius of the filmmaking that it works at all. Because
Yeah.
it's a lot of crows and shit, like flying around pecking at people. It's like,
But I think both
seriously?
those movies also, though, have strong characters and family dynamics and things like that, too, right? It's not, this just isn't happening to random people. In both those
Absolutely.
films, there's these things going on.
Yes. Well, so you know, I was telling somebody the other day they were talking about Jaws and they were talking about the movie and it's like, did we see the same movie? Because you know, a lot of people I think born after Jaws came out, their life would be engulfed by special effects and CGI and all this stuff. And they look at Jaws and they're like, you know, I don't, you know, what's the big deal? You know, it's all it without the music, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, you know? And I'm like, are you not getting that this is all about the relationship between these three guys and how great those three actors are in that movie? I mean, that's what it's about. It's about these three guys on this boat, you know? If you never even saw the shark, the movie would still be great.
It's just been this, yeah, yeah. Or just, it's also the things too, like when the woman comes and slaps him in the face and the politics of what's going on and that push in on him
Oh
going
yeah.
into the water. I mean, it's not like it's just special effects. It's also like, yeah, and like I said, but it's a good story.
And it's great too because boy, I so applaud Steven Spielberg for casting Roy Scheider in that part because up till then Roy Scheider played nothing but tough guys. You know, he was the scary guy in every movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a little less so in the French Connection, but still, he was a cop and he was a tough guy. You know, and you know, granted, he is a cop in Jaws as well, but he's a vulnerable kind of, you know, he's fragile and he's scared in the movie and he's terrific in it. yeah, so and Dreyfus is fantastic in that movie. Of course, I kind of love nothing wrong with Robert Shaw, as big
Yeah.
and obnoxious drunk as he was making that film. Uh, you know, I can't help but see Sterling Hayden in that role
Oh
because
God, he would have been
I
great.
just
Yeah.
think it would have been off,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
uncanny if Sterling Hayden had played that part. And I know that he was considered at one point, as was Lee Marvin. Uh, and either of those guys would have been incredible in it. But I feel bad even saying that because Robert Shaw is so memorable in the film, and
Oh God, that monologue when he's talking about, you
the
know,
Indianapolis with the
yeah, with the
yeah
shark. Oh my
yeah
God, that's like so
1,500 men
amazing.
went in the water, so it came out, here's
Doll's
to swimming with
eyes.
bow-legged women. Yeah, he was uh he's just fantastic. He's great because you can actually smell him in the movie. Right?
Sea salt and whiskey.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, he lives in those clothes, and he's
Oh.
so freaking good in that film.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. Plus, our friend Robert Shaw also did a wonderful thing. Was he was offered the Columbo episode "Any Port in a Storm," which he didn't want to do, so he recommended Donald Pleasance, and that is like considered by many people the best antagonist in Columbo and one of the best episodes.
uh,
And Peter Falk liked the episode, and especially his performance, that he actually went on the Carson show and plugged it because he really wanted people to see Donald Pleasance in this
cool. Wow,
episode.
that's great. That's a
Yeah,
good guy. Good guy.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm embarrassed, and my brain is not functioning. I met one of your Columbo people up in Portland, right? Who is part of the Columbo
Oh,
screening
yay!
group, and he introduced himself to me, and I said, and that's how he introduced himself. I'm part of Anne's Columbo group. I wish I could remember the guy's name. There were a lot of people in Portland that I was familiar with, from the foundation, or they said, we watch you and Anne all the time, which is really great. It's really nice. So, okay,
Hey,
that was our last question, and look at that. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly 90 minutes. I think we're, if not exactly 90 minutes, damn close to it, right?
pretty close. Okay, so I think I will try and get on our next one. We'll try and get a lightning round done.
Yeah. Let's
And we'll
throw
start
that
doing a
in.
lightning round
Lightning
every.
round. But I don't want you to save it till the end. I want you to and I want you to control it. So like
Okay.
suddenly you just go lightning round. Here we go, and
Here we go.
we'll just
Don't think about
dive
it.
into it. We'll just dive right into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
Okay.
somebody. Well, no. Well, never mind. Eh,
And any other, like you said, no more noir festivals until September.
Yep.
I have some fun stuff to announce, but I'm not going to do it right now.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it. I'm shooting some more stuff soon for Noir Alley. Uh, People will see in starting, I guess it was already starting. Yeah, it's already started that I'm not in bar 355 anymore.
Okay.
The latest stuff was shot in Atlanta, but that's only for the month of July.
Okay.
So there's only two more of those where I'm not in bar 355, and then when I come back on the air in September, I will be back at the bar in Oakland through the rest of the year.
Okay. And just let people know, yeah, because August is Summer with the Stars. And
Yep.
just so people know, but we still have the TV listings up, and we will list out all the film noirs being shown during the month still. So you guys
Cool.
can still go to filmnoirfoundation.org and look at the TV listings just to see all the noirs that are playing.
Great.
So even though Noir Alley won't be there, there will. I know they're having one day. It's all Joan Crawford, so I'm going to assume there's going to There's
Yeah.
going to be some noir
There's going to be some. Well,
fatale.
and on August 14th, it's Sterling Hayden's maiden voyage on Summer Under the Stars.
All right.
At his maiden voyage, Sterling Hayden
I like
voyage. You
that.
know, that was good.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are definitely, and I'm hosting the primetime films,
Oh, okay.
and so they're which, if I recall, they are uh, The Killing and Crime Wave and Doctor Strangelove,
Okay.
and I think there's one other. It might be Five Steps to Danger or something like that. It's really goofy movie. I've shown it on Noir Alley, but it's amusing as hell. You know, I just watched. You know, it was funny in Portland. Um, it was so fun. The theater is so cool, and the audience was so great that I ended up like watching most of the movies again. You know, and so I watched The Killing again, and you know, I watched Out of the Past again, and you know, Alias Nick Beale and 99 River Street, and you know, it was so great. But man, Sterling Hayden is great in The Killing. He's just amazing in that film. So that's
It's
it.
a great movie.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I hope you gleaned something of value out of this show, and will join us next time.
And also, if we're talking about film and someone's trying to get us to identify a film, we don't know what it is, feel free to comment that like on the YouTube video
Yeah.
so the person can find it. So in case anybody knows the answer to that question, if you can just comment on the YouTube video and leave it there. Because, by the way, our YouTube channel's at Noir City. So you can just go to YouTube at Noir City, and that brings up our channel if you're one of our Facebook people.
Yeah.
And oh, right. So Jennifer Tilly.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Tilly. The video of me interviewing Jennifer Tilly at Noir City is now online. Where can people see that, Ann?
So on our YouTube channel
On our
at Noir
YouTube
City.
channel at Noir City, and it's pretty funny, and we will we have the Annette Bening one up.
Annette Bening's already up. So your interview with Annette Bening, and then the one that's coming up was the
Is it John Dahl or Karen Kusama? It's either The Last Seduction or Destroyer.
I think it's Destroyer first, then Last Seduction.
Okay, very good.
So we'll be releasing those. So people know we kind of stagger the releases on those. So
yeah, because I find that if we do them all at once, people really only have time to like watch one of them, and then the other ones just kind of sit there. So it's better to do a staggered release of these things. Then each one is kind of drops fresh, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So I am now going to go eat the spicy corn and coconut soup that I made an hour or so ago, well, longer than an hour ago, because I've been here for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to eat that and have a martini, and I will check in with you very soon.
Yeah, I already had my chicken tangine beforehand that I made. I made chicken tangine this weekend. It was very
fantastic.
Good. Oh, it was really
good for you.
Good. Okay, guys. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Cheers.